Hello everyone, this is my learning skill focus called lesson plan. So first, this lesson plan is for students who are intermediate Spanish as heritage language students. So the class that I'm currently teaching. And the topics that we will cover in this class will be language variety in the Spanish language, so the different dialects. Because in the heritage language class, normally they are second or third generation of Spanish speakers, so probably the people who taught them Spanish, their primary input is their family, and they come from different backgrounds. So normally in a class I have different dialects. So someone who grew up listening to Venezuelan Spanish, and another person who grew up listening Mexican Spanish, Colombian Spanish, etc. So we will mainly cover this topic and also practice the preterite tense while also paying attention to language variety, and practice and differentiate the use of the letters C, S, and Z while paying attention to dialectal variations, because these letters have orthographical differences as well as dialectal differences, way of pronouncing them. So the first activity will be 10 minutes long, and the interaction will be teachers, students, and students, and we will practice listening and speaking skills. So first, the teacher will play a video on language variety and ask students to try to guess the dialect. And in groups of 3, students team up to compete to guess the maximum number of dialects of the Spanish language. As we discussed in class, I think it's important to motivate them, and a very good way of motivating them is to include some competition in the classroom. So this way they will have to watch this video, and I will stop it before the video tells the answers, and they need to try to guess, and they need to also say why they think is that specific dialect. So maybe it's the intonation, maybe is the certain words they used. So yes, that's the main focus of this activity. And here's a short clip of the video.
¿Te parece si jugamos? Escucha con cuidado.
No, chamo, eso fue porque, no escuchaste, dijeron por ahí que había problemas en la curva y por eso se habían atrasado todos los buses de Cedros de Villa. Mija,
So I will stop the video here, and then the video automatically will give the correct answer. Okay. Second activity, it's also within the topic of dialectal variation, language variation. It will last 10 minutes as well, and the interaction will be student-student, and they will practice listening and speaking skills. So the teacher will share a Google Doc with different pictures, and in the same groups, students will talk about the different words they use for each image. Then they will have to share the answer with the rest of the class. So the Google Doc basically has pictures like this and a heading that says like, ¿Cómo llamas a estas cosas? How do you call these things? For example, in Spanish from Spain, this strawberry is called fresa, but in countries like Argentina or Mexico, it's called frutilla. And fresa, the word that we use in Spain, has a different connotation in Mexico. For example, that means they use this word in kind of slang to call a person that is posh or snob. Same example with this cake, that in Spain, for example, we will say tarta, but in other dialects of Spanish, they will say torta or pastel. Okay. Next activity will take 20 minutes, and the main interaction will be between students, and they will practice listening, writing, and speaking. So I will divide students into different groups from the ones that they were working in the previous activities, and I will show a video of a native speaker talking about the story of her childhood. students will need to listen to the video, and in groups, they will have to retell the story using the past tense, but they will have to write it down on Google Docs. After they've done this, they will have to present with their story. They will listen to it twice, so they have to memorize it and then try to retell it as accurate as possible. And we will see, depending on the groups, which group did the best job by retelling the story. Here is a short clip of the video too.
Ahora es agosto 28 del 2011 y mi nombre es Alma Iris. Nací en El Salvador y tengo 42 años. Bueno, voy a relatar un poco de cómo crecí.
Okay, so while students are doing this, they will have to pay attention to the dialect of the speaker. And they will have to also, I will ask them afterwards if they've been in contact with this dialect they heard before, if they seem different, if they notice something different from their own dialect, etc. So activity 4, it will take 20 minutes as well, and the main interaction will be teacher-students. And they will practice listening and writing. So the teacher will explain and provide the example of how the usage of these 3 letters varies across dialects, because these letters are a bit tricky in Spanish, in the sense that for the majority of dialects, actually for all the dialects besides the Spanish from Spain, they are pronounced the same. But you have words that you write it with C and others with S and other with C. So it's important to know the orthography behind it, and it's important to know also that there is one dialect that differentiate in the pronunciation. So first, I will share a PowerPoint with some examples of words and some tips to know when to write one letter and the other. So here's an example. Here's a PowerPoint, and for example, here, use of the Z. So when the word ends in A-Z-O, you write with C. And this is an example. So the next activity that they will have to do, they will have to listen and write the sentences in their notebooks. Okay, so these are the sentences. I will read them out loud. They won't be able to see them, and they will have to try to write the target words with the correct letters. And yes, that will be the main activity. This will take 10 minutes because I will have to give them some explanation about how to write these letters and some differences between dialects. So for this activity, it will also be interesting to see how I pronounce this, because I again differentiate between these sounds, besides how someone of them pronounces them. And yes, that will be all. Thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving.